To Ukraine now, where at least 2 people have been killed and several wounded in the latest Russian airstrikes on Kharkiv. Ukraine's second city is close to the Russian border and has increasingly been the target of attacks. In western Ukraine, at least 5 people were killed and 30 wounded in a Russian missile attack on the key Black Sea port of Odesa. One of the buildings badly damaged was this law school, commonly known as the Harry Potter Castle of Odesa. Now, with the frontline situation worsening, Ukraine has been stepping up recruitment efforts. As part of a new mobilization law, Kyiv has stopped issuing passports and providing consular services for military-age men. Our next report looks at what this means for Ukrainians abroad, including here in Germany.
The line outside the Ukrainian passport service in Cologne, Germany. Ukrainian men hid their faces from the camera, trying to get their documents before the new law on mobilization came into force, without success. The passport office said it was experiencing a technical failure. That meant that not only draft evaders, but all Ukrainians of military age could not obtain their documents. Sergei left the country legally before Russia invaded Ukraine. His son will soon be 17 and plans to study in Ukraine. The family would like to go back.
Both my sons and my passports are ready, but I cannot get them. In Ukraine, they say your passport is in Germany, and in Germany they say, we're not giving it to you.
The technical failure in Ukrainian passport services abroad coincided with the Ukrainian Foreign Ministry's announcement that men of mobilization age would be able to obtain passports only in Ukraine. Starting on May 18th, all male citizens of Ukraine who are abroad will be required to register for military service. However, it is not yet clear exactly how to do this outside the country and what documents to submit. Meanwhile, lawyers say all male Ukrainian citizens, including those who have lived abroad since birth, are subject to the draft. The German government has not yet commented on Kyiv's decision to stop providing these consular services, but the Interior Ministry assured that Ukrainian men would not be deprived of refugee status in Germany.
I'm confident that this will not affect the status of refugees from Ukraine who need protection, regardless of whether they are women, who are the vast majority of such refugees, or men. This status is valid directly throughout the European Union, precisely because of the flight from the Russian war of aggression, so it should not affect it.
But when DW asked whether Ukrainian men could receive German documents with an expired Ukrainian passport, the ministry said that this would be announced later. Ukraine's government, meanwhile, says that Ukrainian men have not only rights, but also responsibilities, including protecting the state. And it is necessary to regulate the situation when many men of military age live abroad. On the other hand, Poland says it will help return Ukrainian men of conscription age when their passports expire, if Kyiv requests it.
All right, let's get some analysis from military expert Frank Ledwich. Hi, Frank, good to see you. Tell us, is this new mobilization law the answer to boosting Ukraine's military, to helping it defend itself more effectively?
Good morning, Anya. It's not the answer, it's a component. The answer is, another component, a major component, would be to encourage more volunteers, and that means improving the offer for those who have not yet volunteered for the flag. It's worth remembering the precept that one volunteer is worth 10 pressed men, of the kind you're seeing there on that report. One other observation I'd like to make as well is that I was in Kyiv last week, and it took me about 10 minutes to count the equivalent of a rifle company in one of the wealthier areas of Kyiv. And it's very clear that very many people of military age, people not married, not with children, I didn't count those, counted 100 people, less than 10 minutes I counted. Those people should be the targets, perhaps, before trying to press unwilling people outside the country. So, look, there's a whole package of measures. This has been, this mobilization law has taken a long time to go through, and I suspect it's going to take a few months to get into some kind of routine, as you see.
And one part of this mobilisation law is the fact that the age of mobilisation has been reduced from 27 to 25. I mean, just a quick question about that aspect of it. Is that going to make a big difference?
A lot of people talk about the fact that 18 to 25, which of course is usually the average age of combat soldiers, those people are not subject to mobilisation. The reason for that is very simple, Anya, and that is because Ukraine has a real demographic problem at that age. But eventually they'll fall within the 25-year mobilisation limit. But I just come back to it. There are plenty of people in Ukraine who are not yet mobilised, and the Ukrainians should look at those and encourage them to volunteer. The best way to do that is to offer them good conditions, good training, good pay, and good care should they be wounded. And very few of those things apply right now. You know, I mean, I saw one brigades advertise in Kyiv individually, and one brigade was advertising the fact as a competitive edge that they offered 60 days training. Everybody should get that kind of training. It shouldn't be something that's that offers some kind of edge. And at the moment, things look, to be honest, from the outside, a little bit disorganised, to put it mildly.
Yeah. We saw in our report, obviously, there are a good number of Ukrainians abroad. Will other countries actively support Ukraine's mobilisation efforts? So, for example, if you have a Ukrainian man who's abroad, his passport has expired, will the country he's in send him home again?
The Lithuanians and the Poles, as the report indicated, have said they will. But, look, it's not a good look, is it? Deporting men who came as refugees to go and fight, and in terms of casualties extremely high, and very possibly die or get seriously injured. That's not a good look. And it is worth saying that, I mean, I know people who are Ukrainian people who are overseas, and one can understand their position. I'm not one of those who say, well, you must go and fight for your country. There are plenty of people within the borders who are not yet touched by the Ukrainian armed forces, and particularly perhaps in the, let's put it this way, the middle classes.
Frank, you said that there is sort of an air of disorganisation about all of this. Looking ahead, I mean, does Ukraine have a clear strategy for achieving its goals in this war?
Well, there's Zelensky's 10-point plan, which includes the return of Crimea, Donbass, and Putin in the International Criminal Court or a relevant tribunal. And candidly, none of these things are going to happen. So the answer at this point is no. I think Ukraine needs to be, and indeed, perhaps even more importantly, the West, I've been arguing this now for 18 months, should develop a strategy and advocate for that strategy, which is realistic and attainable. And there are precedents historically for that. It's worth remembering that Ukraine has already won this war to the extent that it's preserved its sovereignty. The question is the extent to which territory will be Ukrainian. And right now, the 10-point strategy is simply not achievable. And that's an unfortunate fact, and it's very difficult to say, but that's the way it is.
Frank, we always appreciate your analysis. Thank you so much. That's military expert Frank Ledwich.
Thank you.
DW's Eastern Europe editor Roman Goncharenko is following this story. Roman, Ukrainian consulates say they are experiencing technical problems issuing passports. Is that just an excuse? What do you make of that?
Well, it looks like Ukraine is indeed in a very dire situation. So the Russian army is advancing and Ukraine is not having enough ammunition and not enough men to stop that. And in this situation, the Ukrainian government is improvising. This is obvious. So there is this new conscription law that we've heard that will come into force in May. And there is this stop of all legal services, not just issuing passports for Ukrainian men of conscription age. There are also some changes. We've heard that those who applied before April 25th, they will get their passport. So this is a sign of improvisation. This will be regulated, I think, in the coming weeks, because there are hundreds of thousands of Ukrainian men of conscription age living abroad, but a lot of them have absolutely legal reasons not to go to fight. So they lived here, or they have more than 2 children, 3 and more. Some of them are may have illnesses. So it it will take time to regulate this issue, but Ukraine has no time at the moment because the situation, as I've said, is very, very dangerous.
But stopping to provide legal services to your citizens abroad, that's quite a move. Is it legally acceptable, Roman, for a country to stop issuing passports to men of military age? Because this sounds like it could be a basic rights issue. Are there no international regulations on this?
Absolutely. So Ukraine is saying that they have suspended issuing passports or providing legal services to Ukrainian men living abroad. I think they will change that regulation so that it is in compliance with international law. At the moment, it is an issue of debate between lawyers in Ukraine itself and abroad. What is possible, what is not possible. It could be problematic that this suspension came before the new mobilization law came into force. So we will see in the coming days if there are any legal claims against the Ukrainian government.
So where does this leave all those Ukrainian men living abroad? What options do they have in this situation?
Well, the obvious options are basically what Ukrainian government wants them to do is to register in the registry where the Ukrainian government can see if those people can be called up to fight or they cannot. So if they do that, they can just continue living as they lived before. Maybe they will be drawn to fight in the army. But on the other hand, some part of them could be pushed into illegality. We don't know how many.
Roman, thank you very much. That was DW's Eastern Europe editor, Roman Goncharenko.